Ken Ham, when I went to the ARC last spring, I saw him talk on the fact that we are shades of a color, that we're not just one race, multiple specific races, we're just one race, and we are all united as a people. So he's the real reason why I wanted to do this. And he took it on from a biblical perspective and a more biological perspective of how we are all related to Adam and Eve. But what I wanted to do is tackle this from a very more color theory perspective. So I also want to give credit to Major Schaefer, because he's the first person I actually presented this type of presentation to. So he's the one who helped me kind of dip my toes in the water and see how the student body would react to this. And I also want to give credit to all of you for being here and listening to this presentation. So major thank you to all of those people. Now, how I'm going to begin this is actually with some poetry, because I really, really am a big fan of poems. And I love to allow poetry to kind of bring a light to certain things. So I'm going to be reading you a poem that I did for my Honors English 10 class for Miss Laddery. She wanted us to make a poem that was derived from Jamal May and make it our own. So it's his type of style of poems, but just with my own twist to it and what makes it, what I think it should be relevant to us. So this is called A Visible Misconception.
There is a visible misconception of what it means to be human. While people try living in peace and attempt to dwell in harmony together, peace is overthrown by the inevitable, the undeniable force of our own human ignorance. Allow me to tell you a story, one dating back many years ago. When I was an innocent child, I witnessed a sorry human conflict. I recall it all too well. It happened on the playground. Me and other kids were innocently gallivanting outside. We felt alive, joyously meandering, happily dilly-dallying and doodling drawings of dear friends, until we weren't. Time felt as if it had stopped, dead in its own tracks. Those on the playground were eyewitnesses to the sorry human treatment between two adults. No, I'm not thankful for what I saw that day. I mean, all that I say. My eyes were opened to life's bleakness. I wish I could turn back time. I wish to have lived that moment on the once lively playground any other way. Never had seen it, but no, I had seen it. Never had heard a thing, yet I had heard it. I wish it wasn't reality, but nonetheless it was true. The humanity of it all. I saw two different shaded adults biting at each other's souls. No, I'm not referring to the act of physical bullying. What I mean is there was a benevolent brown soul and a troubled, blightful tan being. One that couldn't help but bicker on, breaking the brown's heart. Conflicting thoughts, scrambled ideas, all flying back and forth. They made themselves the center of attention, and not in a good way, but one which upheld the definition of sad human ignorance. Words shot rapid fire, both roasted each other alive. Their words burned deep. In the end, the brown didn't win. They were too emotionally weak.
So, to clarify what this poem is talking about, it's obviously talking about racism, right? It's something that I have to say we all think is very controversial matter, but does it have to be a controversial matter? We have to consider that, because I think it doesn't have to be that way. We just have to open our eyes and see the reality of who we are, the people that we're sitting next to. What is our true skin color? Is it actually just black and white, or is there more to it? The world all around us thinks that this is all controversial and that we are all just black and white, and then there's those people who are mixed who, I guess, are gray in your eyes. But I think this is a very curable disease. How so? Again, you have to open your eyes and not be so ignorant to think that we're all black and white and we're going to just call each other that. My point is that we are far too ignorant and we do not believe our own eyes. We believe our mind and what we've been brought up to know for so long. You see, if I ask a secular everyday person what race or what color I am, they'd honestly say that I would blend into this background because I'm black. But is that really true? See, the issue at hand is that our ignorance is blending. We find bliss in this ignorance. We love to do this and we're going to stick to the status quo. And that also a big thing is that we think far too highly of ourselves and want to rank each other above other people. And we continue to do this because it's hard to change history. It really is. But I think there are quick ways to nullify these racial terms and prove the concept that the two specific skin colors is completely wrong. That idea is completely wrong. And it's not just hard to change our thought process because of history, but it's also hard because of the media that we are surrounded by. Media all around us is saying that we are all black and white. And a great example that I'm going to use is music. In music, we hear things like this. You see, that right there is encouraging terminologies that is completely wrong. Also, don't listen to that song. It's awful. It's not good for you at all. Do not listen to this song. And you see, with all the methods that I'm going to be sharing with you, you can prove that Slim Shady never saw a white person. He never saw one because white people don't exist, you see. Black people don't exist. And I can prove that using definitions. I can prove it by defining colors and identifying colors. All you have to do is open your eyes. You can also, if you know how to mix colors, you would realize that we're not white and we're not black and you're not gray. Fun fact, where you're not gray. And I can also prove it by looking back at black and white television. That's even wrong because black and white TVs are not truly just black and white, and then we have the color TVs, modern TVs. Black and white are colors. It proves using black and white television that that terminology is wrong too. And I can do all of this by not even looking at the Bible or the biblical standpoints, which I think makes this a very, very approachable subject matter for everyone. So here we go. Let's practice defining colors, my friends. So we have Kim Kardashian, we have some Reese's peanut butter cups, and we have Franklin Delano Roosevelt over here. See, let's start with Kim K. She made Beats cases that are 3 different colors. Why? Because there are 3 different shades, really prominent shades of people. Brown, you have what I'm going to call it caramel, and then you have the tan, the light tan. Those are 3 shades because people are not black and white, nor are they gray. Sure, Franklin Delano Roosevelt over here looks like he's gray, but fun fact, he wasn't gray. But people at the time might have thought that he might be, and they would refer to him as, oh, look at that gray person on the TV. So there's that type of element there with black and white television, but it's not black and white because guess what? They refer to him as gray. So there's black, gray, and white television. They're just not full colors. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you know. Now let's go on to actually defining the definition of color, which is the property possessed by an object of producing different sensations on the eye as a result of us looking at objects and the way that the light is reflected off the object. So anytime you look at an object, such as the tables in front of you, it's reflecting light and it's bouncing back and you're perceiving that as gray. Anytime you look at an object, this podium here, this is white because and you can say that it's white, it's a color because you're looking at it and it's reflecting light back that is white. Yes, so now look at this. Why is white not considered a color based on physics? If color is solely the way physics describes it, the visible color spectrum of visible spectrum of light waves, then black and white are outcasts and don't count as true physical colors. Like white and pink are not present in the spectrum because they are a result of our eyes mixing wavelengths of light. That's from Britannica.com. Because of the way physics describes it. People who are all about the physics would say white and black are not true colors. But when we looked at the definition, it's so contradicting, and I have to say I'm going to have to disagree with physics as it is. Sorry for people who love physics. Some consider white to be a color, according to Adobe, because white light comprises all hues on the visible light spectrum. And many people consider black to be a color because you can combine other pigments to create it on paper. But in a technical sense, black and white are not colors, they're shades. They augment colors. Interesting. So based on this, I would like to just say that I think we can describe white and black as both colors, and everything in between when you mix black and when you mix whites. Those are all the colors in between as well, which when you mix them, you get gray. Yes, we talked about that with Eleanor Roosevelt, our friend over there, who's on a black, gray, and white TV. But when we actually look at our skin tones, when you mix our skin tones, we have an array of different shades of color. I found it interesting when I looked at this that you can look at it with hair, right? You have blonde, and light blonde, and then you have darkest brown. Why not just call your hair tan? I don't know. And you have skin tones. Apparently some people are red. I never knew that you could find red people in the world, but according to the skin tone chart, you can. There's all these different shades of brown. So I think the root of the problem, my friends, is that we just decide to stick to history and we listen maybe to physics a bit too much. Hey, I'm just going to put that out there as my opinion. And we should be considering maybe looking at who we really are as people. People who are united as one color, but many different shades of color, of the one color. Brown. We are brown. And even though maybe we can't let go of history and we love to compare ourselves to other people, we have to get over our. So I'm going to just say this right now in front of all of you. I see a bunch of brown people, and I personally believe that I am a dark brown person and not a black person. So I'm going to make this request that if you ever see me, never call me black, because that's making you sound stupid for one, and it's illogical. It makes zero sense. If you want to call each other black, if you prefer to be called black, that's fine. But personally, I would be very offended if you called me black, because that's just not true. So I would like to now close off this and wrap it all up with a part 2 to my poem, because I only read half of it. Fun fact. So here we go. This is part 2 of my poem. There's a visible misconception here. It's really going to summarize all the thoughts of what I was saying today. So enjoy.
I think back on this day often. I remind myself we as humans could have been better. But all because of the epic fall many millennia ago in the garden. This is what we have become, foolish and often disheartened. No, this isn't specifically about how the people of this world are being torn apart. Not about how we are ruined by the World Wide Web and our sharing of ignorance. Nor am I referring to the little picture, ranting of broken relationships and broken hearts. What I'm trying to convey is there's a visible misconception of how we see the human race. We are left to stand idle and accept this deception. But I shall not. I will be the exception, and you can be one too. We should stop the racist talk and not see each other in black and white. I mean it. We should see our true colors and notice a relationship here. I'm not talking about a loose connection, not one that can be easily misconceived, but a bond that is undeniable and remarkable. Not only that, but also logical. We are to be united as one shade of people, not two distinct colors. It's a visible misconception otherwise. People fall for it like an irresistible temptation, a misconception visible as the light of day peeking over horizon's edge. Black and white are all the people think and say. When will they see? Look with their eyes and see reality. Look with your eyes and see reality. I do not believe in the term black and white races. Yes, it's hard to change due to the sin that proliferated many millennia ago. But thanks be to the Savior of the human race, we can pray. We can change. I'm not talking about the preacher Martin Luther King Jr., an encourager of the term black and nonetheless a credible man. No, I'm not even referring to Martin Luther himself as the savior, especially not founding fathers of the United States. I mean the man, the true king, who died to be a forgiver and a savior. He died for the first humans who were mixed. It died for all of those after them. The visible misconception here, my friends, flourishes in history's bleak and ignorant sin.